Hi, and welcome to Pagans United. My name is Josh, and also want to welcome you to the very first video I have ever uploaded to YouTube. I know where have I been, right? I don't, in fact, live under a rock. This is just not a thing that I've done before now. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about a discovery I made after having a conversation with a friend of mine who was not pagan but was interested and curious about things like you might be, and asked me, what is the spiritual world like? And this is one of those things that if you haven't really given it a lot of thought, you're like, well, there's like spirits in the spirit world, I guess. But it got me to thinking, and there was an answer right in front of me. I just had to make the proper analogy. Now, when I said spiritual world, but I'm really going to be talking about it in terms of the metaphysical world, and I'm going to use that term. That might not be your term, and that's fine. I'm going to use that term because it helps me to compare and contrast that world with the physical world, right? Now, everyone lives in both worlds, but it's kind of the difference between, and this is an imperfect analogy, it's kind of the difference between living in the city versus living in the country, right? You encounter different things, you have different challenges and different experiences, right? But we'll get into all that. Everyone lives in both, you just tend not to notice. Calling a little patch of developed and well-manicured park in the middle of a large city nature. Okay, technically it is nature, but it's not like being so far out into the forest you can't even hear a road. It's a little bit different like that. And as a pagan, right, and I use that term in a large kind of umbrella sense, as a pagan, that's something that you're going to become more keenly aware of, is sort of the difference and the comparison and the contrast and your experience in what I'm going to refer to as the metaphysical world. You're going to notice it more. So it's important to have a little bit of an idea of what you're observing, what you're witnessing, what you're seeing. I hope that makes sense. I tend to ramble. Right, so what exactly is what's the difference between the physical world and the metaphysical one? How do I get there? Where is it? Well, you're already in it. The metaphysical and the physical, sort of two sides of the same coin. You're already in the physical world. You're immersed in it. You're surrounded by it. You're an inexorable part of it. Well, the same can actually also be said of the metaphysical. So everything in the physical universe has properties, and which is true, and also has metaphysical corresponding properties. I'll give you, for instance, let me just my neck popped. That's weird. This is a bit of black tourmaline, right? Now, it has physical properties. It is a 7 to a 7.5 on the most scale for hardness. That's a thing. It's brittle. It has iron and aluminum and a few other minerals in it, right? It can be found in certain places in the world, and those are all its physical properties. But black tourmaline has metaphysical properties as well. It's good for getting rid of negativity, it kind of wards and banishes a little bit. This is one that I took off of my altar, that I just kind of keep there, just on the edge of my altar, to kind of help, kind of draw negativity away from it. I have similar ones that I keep under my pillow. I keep a black tourmaline and a selenite stick under my pillow. Kind of helps with like bad dreams and stuff like that. But those are its metaphysical properties. And just like I could exploit physical properties to create conditions in the world, so too can I exploit metaphysical properties. Wood is hard and fairly durable, so I'm going to cut it into planks, and I'm going to build a house with it. Okay. Well, certain types of wood, like cedar. I like to use cedar to smudge house, and it's just part of the medicine that I learned. Cedar, it's great for building houses and getting rid of unwelcome or unpleasant things that go bump in the night. That's a topic for a different time, but I wanted to be able to. I wanted to give you that example as a sort of an analogy of sort of the difference between the metaphysical and the physical world. They exist simultaneously, and they have their own unique properties that are discoverable by people. So just like the physical world has characteristics that you can interact with, and when I talk about observation, I suppose I should lead with that term. The physical world you interact with doesn't see you per se, but you interact with it, and it interacts with you comparably. You can't say, for example, knock on wood without the wood offering some sort of reaction, right? You can feel it, you can hear it, right? So you interact with the physical world through action and reaction. The metaphysical world is the same way. My black tourmaline, for example, I can hold it, pick it up, touch it, put it under my pillow or whatever on my altar. Those are its physical properties. Its metaphysical properties are that it repels and draws away negativity. So you very much interact with the metaphysical world, and pagans tend to interact with the metaphysical world on a much greater scale than everyone else does. There's a little bit of caution you should take with that, in that whenever you interact with the metaphysical world, it interacts with you. If you notice it, it notices you. If you observe things in it, the things in it observe you as well. So maybe it'll be helpful to think of the metaphysical world as an ecosystem, right? Going out to the forest, for example, the things in the forest notice you. They're more keenly aware of you than you are of them, certainly at first. It's like moving into a new neighborhood. The neighbors are talking about you before you met them. It's just how it is. Moving into the metaphysical world, moving into the metaphysical world per se gets you noticed, right? And it's important to note that just in the physical world, there are things that live there, and they're a little bit hierarchical, and there are a lot of predator-prey relationships found in nature. So too are there things, that go bump in the night. There are predator-prey relationships in the metaphysical realm as well. So just like if you're going into the forest, you need to tread lightly. You need to go there with a certain amount of respect. I'm at the top of the food chain. They don't know that. And even if they could counter that argument, it would probably be with, I disagree. I have claws and fangs, and you don't. So, exploring the metaphysical realm should come with a healthy dose of appreciation for what was there before you really got to know it. So at this point, I kind of want to offer a caveat for the casual, if you will, the dabbler, the cafeteria pagan, the angry person who jumped on the internet looking for the good stuff, right? I just want to know where all spells are, because I'm gonna curse my boss because he's a jerk. Or the douchebag who wants to bang a hot pagan chick. They can see right through your bullshit. That's not how it works. You don't just jump in and be like, ooh, I'm gonna turn so and so into a newt. Well, that's not how it works anyway. But if you dive into this path of knowledge, it's a one-way trip. There are things that you can't unlearn. So a lack of real commitment is just going to come back and, come back to haunt you, for lack of a better term. So it's really important that you take this seriously. This is sort of don't treat this like a phase, or you're just angry or disgruntled, or you feel disenchanted, or hurt, your feelings are hurt, or whatever. This is because there are real things that are going to happen to you, or there are real things or real world effects to the things that you're going to learn how to do. There's a certain amount of responsibility comes with that. So without sounding preachy, I really don't mean to do that. I would just encourage you, if you think that this path is right for you, read, meditate, reach out to other people that identify as pagan, and there are a lot of different flavors, I guess, of paganism. There's Asatru, Kemetic, Celtic, Native American, the Brujas, just plain old witches. This guy. So really kind of do your research, because once you go out there, there's not really any coming back. There are things that you can't unlearn, and it changes you. It changes your perspective, the way you observe the world around you. So tread lightly. Welcome. If this path is right for you, that's terrific. If not, well, you're kind of stuck with it. So just so you know, the things that you're going to learn about are in fact very real and require a certain degree of commitment. So with that, I wish you good luck and good day. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comments below, and myself or a crack team of experts, none of whom I've ever actually met in real life, will do our best to answer them. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.